Hello, everybody. Welcome to our session. My name is teacher Anna, and I am a lead of the EAL program here at Eton Academy, and I'm really happy to be able to record this session for you, and really excited to share a little bit about our program today. As our program is developed for children that are age 9 to 12, and our program is mainly focused on developing their confidence, their independence, as well as rolling out the strong fundamentals for them to thrive academically and socially in the English medium school environment. So I would like to share this, our program, to offer. So first of all, I would like to begin with the title itself, right? The title already reveals a little bit. We are focused mainly on building strong fundamentals to develop students' confidence. So this is something that is really important as students grow and develop socially and academically. The confidence is really important every part of their lives, and they will have to progress and perform in different stages in their lives, right? Whether is it being an examination setting, whether it is some sort of performance that, or even giving a speech to somebody in the future or to a bit greater audience in the future. So all these skills will be put to a test. And so our mission is to help children feel confident. That is the main idea of the course. When children feel comfortable speaking up, their learning becomes much more enjoyable and much more successful overall. But we're not just focusing on that. We're also focusing on preparation for their academic growth as well as their emotional growth. So the kind of three pillars that we will be talking a little bit about here today. And we are an enrichment school. So the word enrichment itself means giving children a great head start. And I think that has to be emphasized a lot as we are nurturing them. We are trying to spark their curiosity as well. So we know that there might be some more reserved, introverted students who need that boost of confidence, a little bit of push and encouragement, so that later on they are ready for their new academic adventures. So what makes our program unique? You may wonder. Well, first of all, when parents ask me, how is your program different? I mean, Singapore market has many different options when it comes to the EAL programs. We know that they are being run international schools themselves, but also in some enrichment schools too. I would like to highlight the 5 key elements which all center. That's why we have this this cute little girl in the middle on child growth. So first of all, our lessons are CEFR aligned. So CEFR as well as WIDA, WIDA, are these international measurements, right? Where we establish where the student belongs to and falls in terms of their preparedness. So what is their level of proficiency, right? So is this a beginner student? Is this a pre-intermediate student? So on and so forth. So when our students come to school, we will test them to make sure that they are in the right place and that they feel comfortable, that we embrace their strengths, especially their strengths. So also for parents, it's the indication that they know where the child needs to go. Okay, and I am very sure that all of our parents have come across these measurements of proficiency. It really helps parents in terms of the decision making, where and when the student should be placed. Second of all, we follow speaking first methodology, which means actually before children can write, they need to speak comfortably. And that is a definite must. So starting with spoken communication builds fluency and as well as self-assurance early in their age. So third, we also integrate vocabulary from different subjects, school subjects, such as humanities, math, science, and so on and so forth. So it's not only English being taught in isolation, but students learn the language that they will actually use during their subjects at school. Fourth, our class sizes are small. We want to ensure that students get the most out of the lessons and that the focus of a teacher is spread evenly, if I may put it that way. So they feel safe in terms of their personal space. They feel assisted. They feel that we are there for them and we approach them individually, not as a whole group only, but we also look at them individually. We look at their problems and we see how we can assist them and help them. Finally, our fifth pillar would be the growth mindset and self-expression. So encouraging students to view mistakes as learning opportunities and for them to be able to express themselves confidently in writing, speaking, or even during the creative projects. Next thing that I would like to bring to your attention is one very important point. From the learning and linguistic perspective, this age 5 to 12 is actually a critical window for students' new language acquisition. At this stage, children's brains is very elastic, highly adaptable, and able to absorb new knowledge and languages efficiently. So if you're thinking about signing up your child for any type of course, enrolling them on any type of course, this age is probably the best. And we're talking about neuroplasticity, which it basically means that their brains are like sponges at this age and they absorb, they're flexible, they are just adaptable, able to absorb a lot of knowledge at one go. So our lessons, as I mentioned, we have small class sizes, which matters a lot to most of our parents. So we've had many inquiries asking about that. We can assure that the classes, as you can see, students are working together on different projects. They are engaging, they are closely assisted. We have a lot of hands-on activities, which is a little bit different from the L1 students. So students who are learning in Singapore settings, who are born in Singapore, they're learning a little bit differently as they grow in this environment from onset. I will talk a little bit about this in just a minute. Focus on growth mindset, focus on small classrooms, and engaging students closely. So these are the three pillars. So here I have some examples of the activities that we have. So how children learn best, right? So especially for L2 students, I would say that it starts with introducing symbols. So the phonemic symbols, phonemic chart, which later on helps them reading words on their own, finding where the stresses are when they have to pronounce the words correctly, and so on and so forth. So this is what I'm showing you here is just a glimpse of what we are doing, but there will be a lot of activities. And even so, the phonemes will be introduced to them as a lot of visuals, a lot of games, cards, and basically hands-on activities that they will participate in varieties of role play, games, and basically for them to establish meaningful communications. Right? Students do not learn by memorizing rules. So this is something that is a myth that has been sort of ingrained in our minds that we need to know the rules in order to know how to pronounce things or how to learn grammar and so on. When children use words and when they express meanings, even through simple things like saying words, right? But the words are contextually set, they perform better and they learn better. So this is actually scientifically proven. We have several other activities here as example where students have fill-in activity, right? So basically they have these flags where they need to spell the word. So they need to connect sounds with the letters, as well as later on reuse that knowledge in the follow-up activities. So it's a progressive and meaningful establishment of certain connections, right? Whether it's a connection between the sound or it's a connection between grammar rule, which is introduced through activity, or whether it is something like learning mathematical symbols and then again using them in a hands-on activity context. Where students can have a go on a little bit of math calculations in order to really use it in practical, meaningful settings. Here we have another example of such a family tree introduction. So we use a visual to present to them how family tree looks like. What is it? Because it's a very abstract context. Like, we're not trees. Students would always ask me, but we're not trees. Why are we looking at the tree? So then through the activity, we're explaining to them that it's about connections, that it's about how deciding how we are all connected in the family, who is who, and so on. So as you can see, it is followed through by, again, multiple activities on using the words, the vocabulary that they learn. It's very personalized as well. The students will have to use their own family members' names and describe who they are and so on. So this is very practical. We're using a lot of students' experience, which also helps memorizing and learning everything in a very practical way. Now, the biggest difference, especially when it comes to the differentiation on how L2 learners and how L1 learners learn, here I have the main differences between them. So as I mentioned just a few slides before, students of L1, so students growing up in Singapore environmental setting, they learn two languages at the same time. So they are bilingual. The way of learning is by natural exposure that is built over years. They do not need to know rules in order to produce the language and express themselves well. The rules come in later on when they need to be prepared for the PSLE, but still there is no inference through their prior language, right? Especially when we're talking about English being L1, so English being their first language. As opposed to L2 learners need very structured and rich input. What does it mean? It means that if they're not exposed to the language, targeted language, well enough, they will simply not be able to develop that language later in their life. We are talking about accelerated progress, which means that we are trying to teach students, make them equipped with a new language within a shorter period of time. What is necessary for that to happen is that we need to have very, very rich input. Okay, so it means that outside of the classroom, students need to practice the language, and we will be doing that as well. We will be helping them by providing materials for that exposure. We'll be giving our parents also some advice on how to help their children be exposed better to the environment. So it's not a problem, even if the students do not speak that targeted language at home. There are ways to help them as well. So just to keep that in mind. So here are some of the very important points proven by linguistics and science that students are active learners. They thrive on hands-on activities. They love movement. As we know, students vary. So there can be students more inclined kinesthetically, which means they need to move in order to remember things or learn things. But there could be students who are more visual, so they need maybe some drawings, or they need to highlight the information, and so on and so forth. But most important thing is to establish positive emotions so that when students learn, they want to read. So let's say we are introducing something that is of their interest, that they may truly enjoy participating in. So it's not something that is introduced as another subject that I have to learn at school. But it's a really fun and interesting way to learn more naturally. When it comes to motivation, so I think this is the point that the parents are always concerned about. When it comes to motivation, it can be very, very challenging. But understanding the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation is something that may help. Extrinsic rewards are those that we can provide for the students. So it could be some stickers, it could be some materialistic rewards that will help them go through, let's say, difficult writing or a long period of extensive activity. They are helpful, but they're not lasting. So we do not encourage that type of motivation. What we want to focus on is this intrinsic motivation. What can I do to improve on my language? And I want to do it on my own, right? So building that confidence and showing to our students that, you know what, I can nail this writing. You know what, I'm good at reading or pronouncing these words. So by constantly nurturing our students and making sure that they actually receive that support, and that they are constantly encouraged, they are motivated by praising them, by really focusing on these little steps that they're making forward, because every progress means that they are improving, no matter how small the step is closer. We're getting them closer and closer to building their confidence and building their success. So always encouraging them, making them feel safe, building their confidence is based on these pillars. So basically, making sure that they are feeling competent. And how do we build this, right? So yeah, these are the main points here. Okay, so we already mentioned that the academic readiness for school subjects is also something that we're looking at. And I mentioned a little bit about this before. What is the difference between our local English settings and our EAL course? So there are certain differences and similarities. There will be more differences than similarities, but main focus, as we can see, is the practical communication and confidence for our EAL students, as opposed to preparing them for exams, which is a little bit more rigid and focus on results. Thank you so much for today, and I hope you enjoyed this short webinar. I will be able to assist you when you come by and when you visit us. Thank you very much. Bye.